So in question 8 here, again, what we want to do is end up sketching this curve, but using calculus to do it. So the first thing again, find the domain of the function. So log of x minus 1, now we know about logarithms and that we know that we can't take log of anything that's 0 or negative. So we know x minus 1 would have to be greater than 0. So if that's the case, x then would have to be greater than positive 1. So that's where the x greater than 1 comes from, because this part up here can't be less than 0, or can't even be equal to 0. So show that it's got no stationary point. So we get the derivative of it. So derivative of x minus 1 is 1 over x minus 1. And because the bottom can't be equal to 0, or 1's not going to be equal to 0, the denominator can't be equal to 0, so the whole function can't be equal to 0, so it mustn't have a stationary point. And as x is got to be greater than 1, we substitute 1 in there. So x minus 1, if x is going to be greater than 1, that's going to be positive. Positive divided by positive is always going to be positive. It must always be increasing, okay, because we know that situation. So our first derivative is going to be always positive. Our second derivative, if we do the second derivative there, I'm just going to use the chain rule on that one. So bring the power down, subtract 1 from the power and divide and multiply by the derivative if it's inside the bracket. Gives us minus 1 over x minus 1 all squared. So again, 1's going to be greater than x is going to be greater than 1, and even doesn't matter really, it's going to be squared there. That's going to be positive, that's positive, and you've got a negative out the front. So it's going to be concave down the whole way, because the second derivative can't be anything but negative. So doing our graph of this one, we know that it's going to be always rising. It's x is greater than 1, so it's always rising and it's concave down. It must look like that. And we can see that it's going to go through 2, because natural log of x plus x minus 1, when x is equal to 2, that gives us natural log of 1, which goes through 0. So that's where we're going to get our graph from.